Hi, everybody. I'm Lisa Burwell, your host of VIE Speaks, Conversations with Heart and Soul. This is day one of us filming season 3 of our podcast, and I am so excited to introduce you to our next guest, Melanie Turner, owner and designer and founder of Melanie Turner Interiors. She does work all over the Southeast and beyond, and a lot of work here in our area, headquartered at the beach. And we're super happy to get into our conversation. Hello, Melanie. Thank you for being here.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
You're welcome. Well, we got to meet each other face to face finally during your 30A show home that you and your husband presented. And it really is a beautiful home. What is the name of the development there that abuts Alysbeach that the home is located in again?
Sentimos.
Sentimos, okay. Did you name that development?
I didn't, but a friend of ours did, who actually, believe it or not, is very involved in all the new urbanism down there, and is Terry Slaughter. The
Oh,
Slaughter Group. Do you know?
I know.
He
I
did.
know his I've never
He
met
did.
him, but I'm maybe one of his biggest fans, and he doesn't know me.
Yes, he did all the logos for Rosemary,
I know.
Alice, and
Alice, I know. Did
continue.
he do your logo, which I like very much?
Yes. Oh, my own personal one?
Yes. Yes.
Oh no,
Okay.
no, he did, but he did Sentimos. Yeah, no,
Oh,
he
which
did
is
not
very
do mine.
nice. Oh, that's so good to know. So, how many days was the show home open? About a week, or was that over 3 weeks? I can't remember.
I think we had it open almost a month, so
Okay.
probably 3 weeks.
And did you have good traffic?
We did, especially for the first year. You know, it's
Right.
it's it's interesting because there's a lot of people. I'm sitting in Atlanta right now, but there's a lot of people from Atlanta that have secondary homes or vacation down there. But you know, it's kind of one of those things from advertising standpoint that how do you capture that audience in you can't advertise till close to it for people just to decide what to do. So
Right. Right. Well, we were happy to be there and support both you and Atlanta Lifestyles Magazine. And we're super glad to see a show home here. We've done about 5 or 6 show homes, and let's just say they are not easy. And I think we had just come off one about 7 months before. And the fact that I was walking through your home and we had nothing to do with it was maybe the happiest that I could have possibly been
I know the
because
feeling.
they're very, very hard to do.
Yeah,
And you had a really good crowd the night we were there. It was really
nice party.
swanky and very, very nice party. And I loved
Thank
your
you.
book, Inviting Interiors. It is such a beautiful book. And is that your first coffee table book?
It is. It
It's
is.
so well done.
Thank you. And
How long?
the Rizzoli says it's their top seller, so I'm really excited
Wow.
considering we had it come out during COVID. I think it's because it's got a bright, happy cover on it.
It is. Did you have anything to do with that? Because the
Oh,
cover is so beautiful. You did.
it was funny because we shot that in June of 2020 when everything was shut down, and
Okay.
to get permission to go into somebody's house when everybody was really scared at that point. Um, and New York was totally closed down. Like I never got to go to New York. I never got to look at like have that whole experience. I did have the experience of signing on with Rizzoli, in which I was crying because my family went im- immigrated from the United Kingdom from Wales when I was a little girl, and when we came into New York Harbor, um, my mom walked the streets with my sister and I. And so for me to be walking into one of these buildings in New York, to be signing on with a book, I just was bawling my eyes looking at my grandmother and my mother and all the people that had come here to give me that opportunity. So it
Wow.
still took, but that was
Oh,
amazing because of COVID, not so much. But getting back to your question about photographing it, when you kind of like, I remember them saying to me, one of the hardest things is going to be picking your cover. And I was like, wow, really? I don't think it's going to be a big deal. Well, it is because it represents all your work. And we pride, I pride ourselves on the fact that we don't have it's not necessarily a look besides it being edited and curated. And we like collections and art. But for the most part, we go anywhere from mountain houses to beach houses to city houses to all kinds of styles. So I was like, how do I get that across? Well, this particular client loved antiques, had a lot of heirlooms of her mothers and grandmothers, and the cover of the book has a CB2 table on the cover. So it's kind of like this high-low, which is what we love to do too.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And so I was like, that's going to be it. And New York agreed, but they wanted to go with what we had shot. And I'm like, no, 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 the art's too small, because it was the client wanted to use one of her pieces. There was I just like, no, just give me this week. And they were totally surprised that we could pull something off like we do in this industry in a short period of time. And so I placed, now everybody's going to go look at the book, because I placed the flowers so you wouldn't see the bottom of the naked person in the artwork. And there are all these little idiosyncrasies that I know about. The owl on the cover represents my dad, who's deceased. So there's like all these little hidden, but very heartfelt, creative cover that really turned out well, I think.
Right. So you actually photographed it, and was anyone from Rizzoli there? Or they just trusted you to go? Really?
Yeah, no, I didn't have, no. Even the inside the cover, inside the color, I had to do that by the computer. And anybody who knows color, it's really hard to do
Yes.
online. And even that, I was just holding my breath saying, please let it be the color of a cantaloupe.
Wow, that is really impressive. I don't know if you know this, but we started publishing books about 10 years ago. We have about 7, 8 books under our belt now, coffee table books. So I'm very interested in how that process works for you, and kind of amazed that a big player like Rizzoli is just going to let you basically curate your cover, which is really fascinating to me, and it's beautiful.
Well, yeah, I mean, ultimately they have the choice. It's not like I'm in there saying what to do. That's always going to be the choice of the publisher. But we got it down to 2 photographs, and they really liked that one, and I did too. But I said, you've got to give me time. And under the circumstances, there wasn't much of a choice with COVID going on and no flights, etc. So
Right,
that's why.
but that they were collaborative with you is what I'm saying, and a good collaboration. That is so amazing. Well, it is gorgeous.
Yes, I love
Congratu
working with them.
Yeah, congratulations that it's selling well. And I think I read over the summer, I think you had book signings at Summer Story and Alice and a couple of other places down here. How did that go?
Really well. I did Seaside, Alice, and Rosemary, and then did some at the show
At
too.
the show
So
home. Well, that's great. Well,
kind of, that's the only thing that really happened, was that I wasn't able to do the book signings because of COVID. So kind of making up for lost time.
right.
But I love doing it.
But what happened though from COVID, a byproduct, and there were many, good and bad,
Yes.
is that books skyrocketed, and coffee table books did as well. So it was ended up being a blessing for
I,
coffee table books.
yeah, it was good. I had good timing.
That's great.
Even though at the time I was like, I want to go to the other side of the world and sign books. It turned out
Yes,
well.
right. What am I looking at? Is this your studio? And what am I looking at in the back? Is that a piece of art behind you?
Yeah, it's a large Todd Murphy. I don't know if I
It's
can move.
it's stunning.
Can you see it?
Oh wow.
So
Oh
it's
wow.
it's this
Yeah.
large painting of a lion, and I love the name of it. It's called High Cotton. So when Todd painted it, he's deceased now, but when he painted it, and he named it, to me, everybody wants me in a high cotton. So
Wow. What
yeah,
I can't tell. Is it acrylic? I can't tell what it is. The medium.
it's a mixed media. It's a photograph, and then there's real cotton in here and painting, and then the painting on top of the acrylic. So it's many layers.
It
There's
is.
hair on it. There's hair on his tail and his mane. I love him.
Wow. It's
He goes everywhere.
spectacular. Okay.
It's pretty special.
Well, it's so beautiful. So this is going to be a random thing I'm going to throw out there, but I was looking at your Instagram page, and you are photographed beautifully with the lovely Jane Fonda recently. Tell me about that.
Well, it was for GCAP, which is her. She's had this charity 25 years plus when she married Ted, and started this because Georgia had one of the highest pregnancy rates, and helping women and enabling them to empower themselves. So she started it many, many years ago. And a friend of mine who was on her board asked if they could use my house. And I said yes. And they decided to have a party for her 85th birthday. So it was fun.
So I think your Instagram post said there were 160 people there, so your house could seamlessly fit 160 people in it.
Yeah,
That's pretty.
we had it at the house for dinner, so the tables were outside. But yeah, it was pretty special because I think we raised like $1.6 million or
Yeah.
something for the charity, which was really nice.
Yeah,
And
that's
she was
amazing.
lovely. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and the best part is reading in the Instagram the manifestation that took place 25 years ago with me. And I've always done interior design my whole life, but there was a short period of time when for 5 years I was in pharmaceutical sales. And it's a difficult job to get, and you go through many interviews. And my manager was interviewing me for, gosh, the umpteenth time. And one of the questions he said to me was, if you could have dinner with anybody, who would it be and where? And you don't know this person, you don't know their political backgrounds, you don't know their thought process. You're just like, that's a question. It caught me off guard, but right away I just said, Ted Turner and Jane Fonda and their home in Montana. And he's like, why would you do that? And I said, well, I love the fact that they conserve the land and they're interesting people, and also what they do for the environment, as well as I love Montana. So 25 years later, she's at my house for
Wow.
her birthday party. A couple weeks later, I'm invited by Ted to come have lunch with him at his house. So I get to do that. And then on top of it, I opened a store and was doing projects in Montana. So all these things that I had said 25 years ago ended up coming true in a very short period of time.
Unbelievable.
And it dawned on me until I put the photograph in there.
Wow.
So
So
yeah, it worked.
was that in your Atlanta home or in Montana?
Yes. No,
Your
my
Atlanta.
Atlanta home.
Okay, that's some manifestation
That's a
for
hard word to
sure.
say, right?
Yeah, it is a hard word. I saw another post too of such a magnificent project that I guess you worked on at Yellowstone Club. That looked amazing.
Yeah, yeah. We love working for out there. It's all good. There's
Was that
nothing.
a new project?
Yeah, new construction. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we worked on that, and that was another funny one where, like, who plans on skiing over to somebody's house to have them sign a contract? Like, who makes this up? And
Wow.
and I'm a decent skier because, like, growing up in Florida, I water skied my whole life, but I didn't grow up snow skiing. It's more the fear of hurting myself. And I remember thinking to myself, didn't think this through after signing a contract that it's dark and I have to ski back to someplace else. But yeah,
That is wow. So you have a home there too?
Montana, no.
Yeah. No. Okay. Yeah.
I have a
That.
good friend who lives there. See, the key to life is to have friends in different places so you
Well,
can go
that's true.
stay.
That's a very good idea.
Yeah.
So, when you started out, did you and your husband, Steve Benecki, work together, or was that purposeful, or how did that come together?
So Stan and I, it wasn't purposeful. During the real estate crash in 08, 09, we, I was doing all the specifications for his homes. He was originally building in Chicago and came to Atlanta and was doing beautiful homes here and was really setting the bar to do the most spectacular houses, like real slate, real iron, like things that just people weren't doing in new
Mhm.
construction. And so I was helping him while raising our children do the specifications for the spaces. And then kind of like the real estate crash came along, and I just remember thinking to myself, I am not going down with this boat, and we're going to sell all these houses. So I think we 10 times in 5 years, and each house I went in and just spit and glued the interiors together and photographed it for the magazines, not for me, just to sell the houses, and the houses did sell. But the silver lining was that it built a business. I didn't even realize at the time it was building a business for me. And what really set it off was he dared me um, to place a project that was our own personal house in for a contest. So I did, and won Southeast Design, our first Southeast Designer of the Year. I made the cover of Veranda, and I was like, okay, what do I do? There's no money for marketing. There's no nothing because all the magazines were going out of business. It was just a terrible time. But I'm one of the few people that kind of like starts with this notoriety without one client. They didn't have one paying client. So
That
I
is
thought, nowhere to go but up. So yeah, our business is 13 years old, was 13 in August.
wow.
So yeah, we worked
Well,
hard, but we're lucky. We have great clients and I have a great team. So
right.
so it's enjoying.
Well, that is an interesting story and definitely a amazing start to solidify you in your future. In 2008, my husband's an architect by trade, and we work side by side with my marketing company that I still have called the Idea Boutique. And V Magazine wasn't invented yet, it wasn't imagined yet. But when that crash happened at the time period that you're talking about, we were losing, big clients that we had had for a long time. His business literally went from thriving to zero, like a faucet was shut off, especially down here. Nobody was building anything at all, and it was really frightening. And I have the same esprit de corps as you, or not that this is you, but I'll call myself possibly borderline insane to think that starting a magazine when all of the other magazines, like Gourmet Magazine, was going out of business, that's when we started V.
Southern accent, all those. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. I feel like we knew each other at my house in Rosemary at the time on East Waters next to the Cabana Pool. We had a
Yes.
body massage house. I feel
Yes.
like it was a long time ago, but yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably before even, I think, the magazine maybe. But so with what I saw at the home, the 30A show home, which was just so incredibly new, and fresh and alive, just so alive. How different is it? And I know that you design in a lot of different states and you're prolific and whatnot, but how different is it to design at the beach than it is, let's say, for private residences rather than a beach residence? Like, what are you doing when you are designing a beach home that might be different from a residence in Atlanta that people are their private residence? Or, I mean, obviously the mountains has its own eclectic energy and vibe too, but I think I read somewhere that you enjoy designing people's beach homes because it can reflect more of their personality. Is that right?
Yes. So
Okay.
in general, those fortunate to have a secondary home, I really feel like it's their true personality. And I say that because your primary home, you have this noise in your head, what your parents expect of you, what your friends expect of you, what you expect of yourself, and how you're supposed to live, whether it be China or a certain decor or certain look. And you have all that stuff, but you're like, is this really me? And then at the beach, first of all, people are more hands off, which enables us to be more creative.
Hmm.
Sometimes the best thing to do is get out of your own way. And I feel like people do because they're busy with their lives and they're like, you take care of this, which enables us to be more creative. And secondly, I really feel like we listen to what you're telling us. Like, I don't need a dining room, or um, I don't need as many bedrooms anymore. So let's make it an office slash bunk room slash library, whatever it may be. We are trying to be really present and listen to what their needs are, and it truly is how they live.
Hmm.
You know, people don't want any window treatment, and you wouldn't have thought of doing that in your main home. Like you're okay with listening to yourself. I feel like
Great. Yeah, some more freedom,
more freedom,
just freedom.
for sure, for sure. It's you.
Right. So, what are your goals? Like, how many houses do you want to do? Is the sky the limit? Like, do you cherry pick now that you're in a position where you're sought after and you probably don't have to take anything that comes your way? Like, how do you structure, like, going to the mountains and then in New York City, down at the beach, in Atlanta?
Well, I have a really good office that we're able to collaborate on where we're going to spend the energy and what we're going to do. But I would say I have a hard time. It's taken me longer to learn to say no than it is to say yes, because I'm a yes person, which has gotten me where I am. But at the same time, my husband will say to me sometimes, he'll say, some of the best work you've ever done is not doing the job. So it took me a long time to figure that out as a businesswoman. You're always afraid somebody's not going to knock on the door. And I think that fear is good because you are
on your toes. Yeah.
Yes, but somebody once told me, I sat next to a friend of mine who's an architect, and I said, "Give me a pearl. I just love learning things from people." And he said, there are three things, but you only need 2 out of 3 when you're interviewing. He's like, it needs to be creative, they need to have money, or you need to love them. I don't need all 3. It could be a creative project with people I love and no money. It could be lots of money and a creative and they're not good to work with. But you need 2 out of 3. So I really, really tried to live by that, and take those projects based on that.
I may steal that if I may.
You absolutely can. And to me, like, the only difference between like before the book and after the book is that it made me realize that I'm interviewing them as much as they're interviewing us. So
yes,
that made me think differently. It's not that you have to have money, or you have to, like, people automatically assume all these things with design. Like, taste is taste, but at the same time, it is nice to be able to choose 2 out of the 3, and that's what we try to do.
very, very, very good advice.
I'm really what I pray for now is just nice clients. Like, life's too short to.
Yes.
I used to think I could change people. I used to think I could make them nice. Now I just want it.
Accept reality. In an earlier podcast cast today, it came up something similar where sometimes the best deal you don't make is the deal you don't make.
Exactly what I was saying with my husband said. He's like, saying no, that's the best thing you ever.
Yes,
It's taken
exactly.
a long time to realize that.
Right. So what is, do you have a future book underway now? Usually when somebody starts a book, then Rizzoli kind of wants you to do a second. I found that friends of mine, Christian Siriano and also Ashley Longshore, who just opened a gallery in New York. Have you been there?
No,
Oh,
I'd love to go
when you go, I would definitely check it out. She's open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And it's in
Nice.
Soho, and it's supposed to be magnificent. But anyway, Rizzoli published their books, and I think both of them respectively are on their 3rd book with Rizzoli. So like when they sort of choose you or curate you or there's a collaboration, I think there's usually a follow-up as well.
Yeah. Well, I didn't set out to necessarily do a book on our firm. I set out to do a book on, my husband and I have a 100-year-old house that's 100 years old this year, and it's an Italian house, and it's just, I pinch myself every day. Nobody wanted it. We renovated it, and it's beautiful. And so I wanted to do a book on the house, because there's only 3 families that have lived in it in 100 years, and they've all been owned by women, including myself, which is also interesting. So that's when I went to Jill Cohen, who's my agent, and I said, Jill, what do you think of this? She wasn't my agent yet, and she just looked at me and she said, no, we're going to do one on you. Nobody cares about, like, who are you with this house? So I'm hoping that the second one will be, the house will be in it.
That's good. Where is that home located?
That's the home. It's in Atlanta.
That's in Atlanta. Wow. What's the aesthetics? What's the design architecture?
It's a 16th century Italian Baroque house.
Oh, wow.
Made to look 300 years old. It was built. So, very interesting and very unusual.
Well, that would be amazing. Well, I hope you get to publish that. Definitely.
That's what I'm for.
What are some new trends in design right now that people are flocking to, because people usually do sort of flock together on the latest and greatest? Anything out there that you want to tell us about?
Well, just in general, for the past couple of years, I've been noticing that everybody is turning to more crafts and organic pieces that the hand has touched and made, and much more curved spaces, like curved pieces, curved furniture, curved chairs. And there's a curved chair behind me now. I'm sitting in a curved chair.
Right.
That everything is instead of it being angular or masculine lines, everything's got a curve to it. So that kind of embraces you and is a little bit what I call like primitive or Flintstone furniture, for no better,
Yes,
for
yes,
no better. And that everything being organic, whether it be pottery or art, that there's something that's been made with the hands.
yes.
That's where I see it.
Yep, I agree
As
with you. I agree with
everything
you.
is so industrialized that everybody would like something that's more
Right.
personal.
Well, we had talked offline before the podcast started about how when you were going through interior design school that you had come to Seaside and you had studied new urbanism in Seaside, and that your husband, serendipitously afterwards, you had found out that he had already done that too.
He studied for years of grad school.
New
Yes.
urbanism, right.
Yeah.
In Columbia, did you say?
Yes, Columbia and Robert Davis came to
Yes.
speak. So we didn't know that about each other, which was kind of nice.
Well, great. And then I think I had shared with you that I am the vice chair of the Seaside Institute, and I was telling you about the Seaside Prize that's coming up the first weekend of February, and I'm going to send you more information about it. But for our listeners and viewers, both from your perspective and also Stan's, because I'm sure you've had numerous conversations about it, how significant, in your opinion, is Seaside based on so much that has happened here, locally, and beyond?
It started a whole trend in zero lot lines, having a 5-minute walk to everything, and being able to meet with your neighbors and not be stuck behind doors, not communicating, visiting, and enjoying life. It changed everything. The car is still an issue, which every time Duani does a project, whether it was Rosemary X, I'll never forget. I was staying in Seaside, and my husband, who's a developer, says, I'm going to take a drive. And he came back and he says, oh my gosh, you have to get in the car. You have to get in the car. And I was like, why? He said, well, I just drove east and there's this place with a trailer and like 5 houses. It was Rosemary. And I looked at him, I said, nobody goes east. Everything's west. That's Denton. Like, this is as far east as you go, which was Seaside. And that was in the middle of nowhere at the time. And then, the rest of the stories I was able to help build. We built a lot of houses and did a lot of design in Rosemary. And then from there, Alice was on the Charettes, and even when they were coming up with a name, I mean, to me, it's a part because I grew up on the Gulf Coast in Clearwater and Tampa, and to me, it's just part of me.
Well, I don't know if you
don't want to tell people about it. It's so beautiful.
I know. Well, it continues to grow, as you know. But there's some new news. I don't know if you know this, very recent in the last 10 days, and that is that Walton County had put out an RFP for land planners to land plan all of Freeport and Defuniak.
Wow.
And DPZ was awarded the job.
That's
so I think it's going to be such a game changer for our area in that, for many years, for good or bad, and it's probably true and sad all at the same time, that there was definitely, the South and the North, right? So 30A on the beach line getting a lot of attention, and, then the sort of the haves and have-nots, right? And I think this connection between the North and the South, and then having somebody like Andreas Duani be part of that when he was such a centric part of 30A is amazing. I have a joke that I said, it's so amazing and such a gift that it almost feels like insider trading. You know what's going to happen, right, to that area. And then connecting us all in a much more thoughtful, planned, for lack of land planning, right? You're going to hope it's planned, but you know what that's going to bring, right? Old Florida, and it really is going to be a game changer. And in September or October of 2024, the Seaside Institute is sponsoring a travel brought Pienza to Copenhagen, to your point, to try to take lessons from the city of Copenhagen, where they went through a transition 20 or 30 years ago, forsaking the automobile and squeezing it out in place of bicycles. And that's another big advocate program that Seaside Institute is championing to help bring back here and work with the county and St. Joe and everybody else to try to connect that as well. So
Well, I would love for them also, because I have such a problem with like the disconnect between all three communities on 30A in just that space in between. And I don't know if it's like, and maybe I can talk to you afterwards about this,
Yeah.
of just like local city government on just being like, okay, we need to
Yeah.
beautify spaces in between and the
Mhm.
electrical wires and
Right.
just all those things that can just really just make it so beautiful.
Right. And we're
So,
working toward that as well. But I think if you get dialed into this, I think you'd be one very, very good a leader, a thought leader for that. And I think you would enjoy it, because then you would be on the ground floor of like making something happen with the area that you like so much and that you work in,
no,
or,
I would love to be part of it.
yeah,
Yep, I
that's
agree.
great. That's so awesome. All right, well, more to follow, and I want to just give everybody a shout out if you have not gone and seen the 30A show home that Melanie Turner and her husband Stan Benicki developed together. It is available for sale. There are some buyers interested right now, but Compass Real Estate and Billy Cresswell is the listing agent, and give him a call, or over Homeowners Weekend in October, the first 2 weekends of October would be a perfect time for people to go and check that out.
So
And
kind.
Melanie, I thank you for your time. And the next time you're in town, please let me know. We can go to lunch or dinner, and I
Okay.
will keep you posted via email on the things we were talking about today. You're amazing. Such a
Thank you.
tastemaker. Incredible.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tell
Thank you so
everybody,
much.
the one thing I will tell everybody, it's really important to hire a professional interior designer. It's really, really important. And I say that because your house will be effortless. It should be run like a business, and
Mhm.
the difference in like where you put your groceries between your fridge and your garage, all those kinds of things are worked out on paper before you do the first thing. So it's really important to hire a professional and let them make your life be so much easier,
It's
effortless.
is a good analogy to that, like placemaking that we've heard about architecturally with new plan. It's almost like the same principle of that, but it's placemaking inside your home.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It allows you to really live and enjoy your family and your friends. So I
Awesome.
want
Well,
to hire myself. I want to hire me. So
I want to hire you too. Well, thank you so
there you go.
much, Melanie. Have a great day.
So much for having me.
Bye-bye.
I really appreciate it. Take care. Bye
Thanks.
bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone, for listening. This has been a great conversation with Melanie Turner of Melanie Turner Interiors. And we thank you for watching and listening. And please go like our YouTube channel and all our social marketing platforms as well. Thank you and have a great day. Bye.